All right, so today we're going to be diving into a pretty fascinating story. The story of Thomas Edison and his quest to bring the world the electric light bulb.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking at it specifically through this really interesting piece called "The Man Who Failed 10,000 Times."
Right, exactly. And you know what we really want to kind of unpack here is how Edison's just incredible persistence, in the face of what a lot of people would see as just constant failure, led to something that literally changed the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Like 10,000 attempts.
yeah,
That
just
number alone.
yeah, and the mindset that must have taken to kind of just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting is when you look at Edison's early life, he wasn't always seen as this brilliant inventor. He was actually considered a pretty poor student.
Yeah, it's
There
funny
were
how those things work out, isn't it?
Right. Like one teacher even labeled him as like too slow to learn anything, which is kind of crazy to think about now,
Yeah,
considering what he accomplished. And, it really challenges this whole idea of like people just being born geniuses.
right.
It really highlights his like sheer determination.
Yeah, it really speaks to this idea that, success isn't something that's just handed to you. It's something that you work for. And, he clearly had hurdles to overcome from the get-go, right?
Totally.
And then you layer on top of that, like, the goal that he set for himself, a practical electric light bulb.
Right. It seems so simple now.
Yeah, we just take it for
But
granted.
back then.
Completely unprecedented. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it was a huge ambition. He was trying to change the world.
exactly. And you really get a sense of just how massive that ambition was when you look at, like, the years of just nonstop experimentation
Right.
that he went through.
Him and his team, they tested so many different materials. They were searching for the right filament, the part of the bulb that actually lights up
Yeah.
when the electricity flows through it. And they needed one that would burn bright, but also wouldn't just burn out immediately.
Right.
And it took 10,000 attempts. I mean, can you imagine
Hard to even fathom.
the dedication?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like randomly trying when something didn't work. They really dug into why.
Yeah.
Was it the material? Was it the vacuum? Was it the electrical current?
Right.
All that data
Yeah.
informed the next experiment.
Really interesting. And, there's this really pivotal moment in the story. The exchange that he has with a reporter who asks him, about all those 10,000 so-called failures.
Oh, yeah.
And Edison kind of turns the whole thing on its head, right?
Right.
He says, I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully found 10,000 ways that don't work.
I love that quote.
It's such a powerful way of looking at it, It's not a dead end. It's valuable information.
Totally. And I think what's important to remember is this wasn't just like blind optimism.
Right.
Each of those 10,000 ways that didn't work was a data point.
Yeah.
And that's what fueled the next experiment. They were constantly refining their approach,
Right.
and they were driven by this belief that they would ultimately find the solution.
It's remarkable to think about, all that time in the lab, all those late nights,
Going back to the drawing board over and over.
Exactly. And of course, that relentless effort ultimately did lead him to that breakthrough.
Yeah, he found the right combination.
Yeah. And the world's got the light bulb. I mean, it's hard to overstate just how transformative that invention was.
Absolutely.
Everything from our daily lives to, entire industries were completely revolutionized.
Yeah, and when you think about it, like the big takeaway here is so valuable for all of us.
Right, is it?
Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it.
So true.
Because you're going to fail.
You're going to fail.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
And Edison's story shows us that failure can actually be a crucial part of the process,
Yeah.
As long as you see it as an opportunity to learn and as long as you keep going.
That's the key, isn't it? It's that persistence.
Totally.
So, for those listening, what can we take away from all of this Edison's journey? It's a really powerful reminder that those setbacks, those moments where things don't go according to plan, those aren't the end of the story. They're just part of it.
Yeah.
Every time you hit one of those bumps in the road, there's a lesson to be learned.
Totally.
And the only time you truly fail is when you decide to just walk away.
Absolutely.
It's that persistence, that determination to keep going, even when it's hard.
Right.
That's ultimately what makes the difference.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, think about a time when you had a setback, maybe even something that you ended up giving up on.
Yeah.
What if you looked at it through Edison's eyes? What if those failures weren't actually failures? What if they were just signs pointing you in a different direction?
A better direction, maybe.
Exactly. Maybe a more successful direction.
That's something to think about.
Yeah, it is.
Really is.
It is.
Well, this has been fascinating.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, keep that light bulb burning bright.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Bye.